What's happening? I've got a real quick question for you. Are you shutting down those limiting beliefs that come to steal your joy? In the last few videos, we've been talking about those places that our minds run to in times of trouble. And we looked at what the Bible calls strongholds, which we defined as a fortress, shelter, or a place of safety. If you missed those last few videos, make sure you go back and watch them just so you get a wider context on what we're talking about. But for today, I just want to shift our focus over to how we can handle those bad and false strongholds, those limiting beliefs, the ones that we think are there to keep us safe, but they're actually holding us back. So let's start off by looking at two case studies from the scriptures of people who had limiting beliefs when faced by something they thought was bigger than them. Then we'll dig into my number one practical tip on how to overcome. So make sure you stick around to the end. So the first case study we're going to take a look at is Jeremiah, and you can find this in Jeremiah chapter 1. So Jeremiah received a word from God, letting him know that he was set apart and appointed by God to be a prophet to the nations. And how does Jeremiah respond? With doubt and disbelief. Jeremiah said, "I don't know how to speak, for I am only a youth." His focus wasn't on the God who was sending him, but instead it was on himself and his own self-perceived limitations. Full stronghold. The second case study is Moses, and you can find this in Exodus chapter 3. Now, Moses didn't just receive a word from God, which is special enough, but he also got an extremely abnormal burning bush to go with it. And God tells Moses that he's going to send him to Pharaoh in order to bring the children of Israel out of their slavery in Egypt. And how does Moses respond? He says, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the children of Israel out of Egypt?" And so again, just like Jeremiah, Moses' focus wasn't on the God who was sending him. Instead, it was on himself and his own self-perceived limitations. Full stronghold. Now here's the thing, limiting beliefs and false strongholds can be based on so many different factors. They could be based on past failures that make us doubt what we can do. It could be the opinion of others, emotional traumas, lies and accusations from Satan, and so much more. But whatever the source of these false strongholds, these limiting beliefs that we sometimes accept, the real question we need to think about is, how do we deal with them? Here's an answer taken from 2 Corinthians. It says, "For though we walk in the flesh, we are not waging war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but have divine power to destroy strongholds." We destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of God, and take every thought captive to obey Christ, being ready to punish every disobedience when your obedience is complete. Sometimes we might find the source of that limiting belief, but whether we do or we don't, in order to overcome, we need to acknowledge that we live in a world that is spiritual, where not every single thought in our minds are true or even godly. 2, we need to make an ongoing practice and commitment to taking all thoughts and opinions that may cross our minds and submit them to God so we can filter the good from the bad. And number 3, we just need to get out of the way. It's not about you, it's not about me, and it's not about the limitations that we think that we have. It's about living our lives laid down in full surrender as we give God's view and perception of us the loudest voice in our minds. Are you shutting down those limiting beliefs that come to steal your joy? Peace.